We'll go live. Welcome. Our opening hymn is number 389, Gathered Here. And I invite you to sing as you feel moved in any part of the round.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. 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 Spirit draw near.
Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, PA. I'm Ruth Thomas, a member of the worship team today, and I am so happy to be welcoming you here to our space. On behalf of the entire congregation, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you are joining us for the first time, we welcome you to our shared online space. We hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel for content, which includes meditations, poetry, stories for all ages, and even songs. Search for Pastor Elizabeth Mount on YouTube to find our channel. For many of us, seeing each other's faces is an important part of how we feel connected on Sundays. So if you are comfortable, go ahead and leave your video on so that people can see you and enjoy this form of community. However, if you don't have a camera, or you're afraid that worship at home may make you feel too comfortable and you'll forget that you're visible on camera, you can leave the video off and no one will mind. One other feature of Zoom that I want to note, you'll see the little speech bubble in the middle of your toolbar down there, just below the video screen. It's labeled chat, and you can use that feature for our greetings, chalice lighting ritual, and for joys and concerns during those parts of the service. The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, PA, is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Self-Governing Congregations, united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have neither creed nor doctrine, but rather teach that all individuals have both the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual path. We come together to support and assist each other on our personal journeys and to build our beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service for conversation. We will open up the microphones for a coffee hour and place you in a small group breakout rooms so that people can check in about how they are feeling and what's on their hearts and minds. Now I invite you to take a breath and settle yourself into the spirit of worship.
Thank you all. Just a couple of notes. Our adult religious education class on the UU sources and principles will have its very last session this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. So if you are interested in the anti-racism journey of our denomination, the sources and principles as a whole, and the current work of the Article 2 Commission, which is set to revision and revise our principles in the coming years. Do come and join us. It's our usual Zoom link. If you got here for worship, you know how to get there. And on Friday night, our Buffy theology group continues to meet also at 8 p.m. and you are very welcome at any time. No need to have already watched any part of the Buffy universe. We are starting season 2. So now there's a special effects budget if that matters to you. And now let us worship together. Sorry. Our call to worship is by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Do not fail to be surprised by the catching of your breath, the quickening of your heart, the fullness of your eyes wide and suddenly awake with awe. For here is a place filled with wonder that still there might be something new born today. Do not fail to notice the changing, the life full and abundant, already beginning by our coming together, already possible by the promises we make to give and to receive, to become more together and to forgive again and again the falling short that is always and already here. Here we find ourselves among the courageous, feeling ourselves trying to become brave with each in and out of breath, each word, each pause, each song. We give thanks to be on this journey in this faith together. So come, let us worship together. If you have a chalice or a candle, you may wish to light its flame now and type "the flame is lit" and where you are joining us from in your chat bar. We light our chalice with these words from the Reverend Joan Sabatino. We light our chalice to celebrate the inherent worth and dignity of every person, especially those who may have given up on being counted. We light our chalice to reaffirm the historic pledge of liberal religion, to seek justice and true equality for all. And we light our chalice to power that love which unites us and moves us toward justice. Please join me in the final words of this piece on your screen. May the light of our chalice flame guide our way, heal our hearts, and empower us to move forward with the work at hand. Amen. And now our hymn, "There is More Love Somewhere." For no matter how much love we find here in beloved community, we know that this is not yet the beloved community in which there is enough for all. Let us keep on going until we find it.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere.
And Penny Vick joins us with our time for all ages.
Good morning. So the month of March theme is about commitment. And I know that Ruth Thomas and Jeffrey Bowden will be speaking to you today about our UU commitment to justice. The month of March is also Women's History Month. So I thought it appropriate to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg's life. And she passed away this past September in 2020. So that's the story I'm going to share with you today. Her commitment to women and to justice is a great example. I dissent. You could say that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's life has been one disagreement after another. Disagreement with creaky-heeled ideas, with unfairness, with inequality. Ruth has disagreed, disapproved, and deferred. She has objected, she has resisted, she has dissented. Disagreeable? No. Determined? Yes. This book is how Ruth Bader Ginsburg changed her life and ours. In 1940, Little Ruth's neighborhood was vibrant with immigrants, people from Italy and Ireland and England, Poland, Germany, Jews from Russia, just like Ruth's father, Nathan Bader. People from different cultures with different holidays and foods and traditions, but all these families in Brooklyn, New York, and families everywhere, one thing was the same. Boys were expected to grow up, go out into the world and do big things. Girls were expected to find husbands. Ruth's mother disagreed. Celia Amster Bader thought girls should also have the chance to make their mark on the world. So she took Ruth to the library. On the shelves were stories of girls and women who did big things. Ruth read about Nancy Drew, girl detective. She discovered Amelia Earhart, daring aviator. She learned of Athena, goddess of Greek myths. Here were independent girls and women taking charge. Ruth read her way into this world. And around her, the sweet scent of books blended with savory aromas from the Chinese restaurant downstairs. Delicious. A girl could be anything. Sometimes Ruth and her parents took car trips out of the crowded city. As they drove past a hotel in Pennsylvania, Ruth saw a sign, "No dogs or Jews allowed." This is how it was in those days. Hotels, restaurants, even entire neighborhoods announcing Ruth and her family were Jewish. This was prejudice, pure and simple. Now it was Ruth's turn to disagree. She disagreed by never forgetting how it felt to read such words. She never forgot the sting of prejudice. In elementary school, Ruth was excellent in some classes, less than others. Her favorites were English, history, and gym, and those she did well. But then there was handwriting. Ruth was left-handed, and back then teachers told left-handers they should try to write with their right hand. Ruth's right-handed penmanship was bad. She earned a D in her penmanship test. She cried. Then she protested. Ruth protested by writing with her left hand from that day forward, and it turned out she had quite nice handwriting. Ruth also had a little problem with sewing and cooking. These were her least favorite classes, but girls had to take them. Boys took shop. They were able to work with saws and other tools. She wanted to take shop. She wanted to handle a saw. She didn't get what she wanted. It may have been unfair to girls and to boys, but Ruth was learning that sometimes life is like that. She also loved music, especially opera. In music class, she lifted her voice in song. This time, it was Ruth's music teacher who objected gently. Ruth simply could not carry a tune, and the teacher asked Ruth not to sing as loud in the chorus. Ruth kept on singing, though, in the shower and in her dreams, and she continued to adore opera, too. By the time Ruth was in high school, friends and teachers knew her as an outstanding student, baton twirler, cello player, newspaper editor. As graduation approached, she was chosen to make a speech at the ceremony, but she had been keeping a big secret. Her mother was terribly sick, and the day before graduation, Celia Bader died. There was no agreeing with this, and there was no disagreeing. This simply was. Ruth did not go to her graduation and she did not give her speech. Still, Ruth knew that what her mother wanted. 3 months later, she left home for college. Not many girls went to college in the 1950s. Ruth made friends, but she also met girls who excluded Jews from their clubs. She met boys who thought girls should be looking for husbands. And then she met Martin Ginsburg. Marty was tall and funny. Ruth was small and serious. Marty could make her laugh. They fell in love and hatched a plan. After college, they would go to law school, both of them lawyers. Ruth had learned could fight unfairness and prejudice in court. People thought it was a fine idea for Marty to attend law school. They didn't think Ruth should go. A lady lawyer. People disapproved. Ruth disapproved right back, and so did Marty. They got married and they went to law school and they had a baby, Jane. Ruth's law school class had a total of 9 women and 500 men. She studied mightily and she tied for first place in her class. And yet at graduation time, no one would hire this brilliant lawyer. Why not? She was a woman. Men didn't want to work with a woman. She was a mother. Men thought a mother couldn't pay attention to work. She was Jewish. Many people still were prejudiced. 3 strikes against her, but Ruth was not out. She resisted and persisted. Finally, a judge hired her and she worked like mad for him. After that, one law school hired her and then another. And Ruth became one of a few female law professors in the whole country. And she did it with a new baby at home, James. Ruth disagreed and worked her way into being a lawyer and professor, but around her, other women were excluded from jobs. When they did get jobs, they earned less than men. They were kept out of important roles in courts and in government. To make matters worse, the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest court in the land, approved all of this. As one Supreme Court justice had written years before, the natural and proper timidity and delicacy which belongs to the female sex evidently unfits it for many of the occupations of civil life. In other words, women and girls were too shy and weak to do big things in the world. Another Supreme Court opinion declared, woman has always been dependent upon man. Ruth really, really disagreed with this. So Ruth went to court to fight for equal treatment of women. The most important cases went to the Supreme Court. The first time she appeared there, Ruth was so nervous, she feared she might be sick. But standing before the 9 Supreme Court justices, Ruth imagined them as her students. She, Professor Ginsburg, needed to teach these students, who were all men, why a person's choices shouldn't be limited just because she was born a girl. Ruth wasn't only fighting for women. When women were excluded from the work world, men were excluded from home life. Why shouldn't a father stay home and care for his children and cook the meals? Why shouldn't his wife run a business? These were fresh ideas from the 1970s. Ruth did not win every case, but she won enough. With each victory, women and men and girls and boys enjoyed a little more equality. Sometimes Ruth and Marty's children received confused looks when they said that their mother argued cases in the Supreme Court and their father made the family's dinners. People found this strange. Ruth and Marty, Jane and James did not concur. They kept on being the type of family they wanted to be, and the dinners at the Ginsburg home were delicious. Marty was a successful lawyer, but also a marvelous chef who had mastered the art of French cooking. Ruth, her family knew, had mastered the art of burnt pot roast. Ruth became well known as a lawyer, so well known that President Jimmy Carter chose her to be a judge in Washington, D.C. Then Ruth became known as the first-rate judge, and President Bill Clinton asked her to be a justice on the Supreme Court. Along with 8 other Supreme Court justices, her job would be to decide the most significant cases and answer the most difficult legal questions in the United States. Ruth agreed. In 1993, Justice Ruth Ginsburg became the first Jewish woman on the nation's highest court. In each case, the Supreme Court considers. After hearing from lawyers who argue from each side, the 9 justices take a vote. The side that gets the most votes wins the case. The justices who agree write an opinion to explain the court's ruling. When Justice Ginsburg votes with a winning side, she wears a special lace collar on her robe. But many times when the Supreme Court announces the decision, Justice Ginsburg disagrees. I dissent, she says, and she writes her own opinion explaining why. Plus, she wears a different collar for just dissenting. I dissent, Justice Ginsburg said when the court wouldn't help women or African Americans or immigrants who had been treated unfairly at work. I dissent when the court rejected a law meant to protect the right of all citizens to vote, no matter their skin color. I dissent when the court said no to schools that offered African Americans a better chance to go to college. Justice Ginsburg can be very convincing. In one dissent, she explained why the court was wrong to rule against women workers who were fighting to get paid the same as men. Congress and the president agreed with her and passed a law to undo the court's ruling. Justice Ginsburg was the oldest member of the Supreme Court. Some people have said she should have quit because of her age. Justice Ginsburg begged to differ. She worked as hard as ever. She exercised in the gym. She never missed a day in court. She attended the opera, gave speeches, and traveled. Many have cheered Justice Ginsburg for her persistence and her independence. They called her a rock star, a queen, or a goddess, but to many, she's a hero. She made change happen, and she changed minds. She cleared a path for people to follow in her footsteps. Girls in college, women in law school, and everyone who wants to be treated without prejudice. Her voice may not have carried a tune, but it sung out for equality. Step by step, she made a difference.
And now we come to that time in the service where we recall how we make a difference in one another's lives. And we offer a blessing to one another. We might say, peace be with you, or blessed be, shalom, salam alaikum, bright blessings. If you would like to pass the peace at this time, please feel welcome to type a blessing into our chat. Many blessings and peace be with you all. Our centering words come from the Reverend Teresa Inés Soto. And are muted for some reason. One moment. And peace be with you. Nope. Let us take a moment to breathe and be with one another as I check that we have volume on our video. Thank you. for being with us in our imperfection.
This is a reading from Teresa.
All right.
This is a reading from Teresa Isoto's Spilling the Light, Meditations on Hope and Resilience. It's entitled, We Hold On. There is a moment before dawn when the night is firmly in charge of the sky. There is no arguing with the opacity that holds both a fertile imagination and cover of destruction. Just hold on. There is the moment when the dream we dream is newly born, wet and wriggling in our hands. Sometimes it's true that salvific futures look vulnerable and small before us. We remain unsure. Just hold on. Anything good was small at first. You know that Dr. King said, I have a dream. It definitely was not the I have a reality speech. It was real in a different way that could be felt, that could be shared. They held on. That dreaming speech happened in August 1963. And you know what came before April? A letter from the Birmingham jail. One moment did inform the other, but the future being built could not be known with certitude. They held on. We gather, Unitarian Universalists, certain only of our power to be human, finding ourselves committed to keeping our word and being our covenant. And when we fail to keep our promises, we don't throw them away, labeled as impossible. We take up our courage. We begin again. We hold on. Sprinkled in the wind, we can hear the questions. If we are not white supremacy shaped into religious robes and rituals, then who are we? We are present, both in attention and in the answer. We are here. We hold on. We contain multitudes, not just of questions and contradictions, but also of possibilities. We continue to labor for the cream of community in which all of us, not just each, but every part of us, is welcome in our home faith.
At this time, let us hear our centering music, sing along, and if you have joys or sorrows to share, you may type them in the chat bar, and they will be incorporated into our pastoral prayer today.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I'm in my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Now let us join hearts and minds and spirits in our prayer. Great Spirit of life, of love, of all that which holds us together, you who are creator and holder of the universe, that which is entwined through all our being. We who are gathered here today call upon all that connects and sustains us. For today we give thanks for many blessings of life, for joys and milestones, celebrations of good news within and among us. We give thanks for community. We give thanks for those prophetic people, people of courage who are working for justice. As Pauline says, just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg from our story this morning. We hold joy for Ralph and Billy's granddaughter, who is turning 17 on Tuesday. We are glad to know that my own grandmother is joining us today from her apartment in Denver through the magic of technology. We are thankful for the continuing social justice work happening here in the Indiana borough. Faye and her Burmese daughters are buying a building and hold joy for this. Tina Purdue offers the joy of local COVID vaccinations as they ramp up and include those who, like some of us, are under 65 years old. Pretty soon, joy about teachers being moved to the front of the line for further vaccination here in Pennsylvania. This would have been Juanita and Judith's brother's 63rd birthday. They hold both joy and sorrow on this anniversary. And our thoughts, our hearts, our prayers go out to all of those holding sorrow, fear, grief, regrets, and concerns. So this morning, let us hold in prayer all those who carry burdens, that their burdens shared may be lessened. Let us hold in care Patty Holmes, whose dear cousin passed on Thursday. He was stricken with dementia and before that traveled to weddings, funerals, and graduations, and just to visit. He will be so missed. May our hearts go out for this loss. May we hold in care Josiah's sister, Brenda, whose longtime boyfriend passed away this week. May we keep the family in our thoughts. And when the weight of the world is a lot, when we have worry about ourselves and others, may we lean on the power and strength of this gathered community. And let us return always to the breath of life, the power and simplicity of each moment. Let us return to the earth that grounds us, the sky that lifts us up, the new leaves just in bud, which are beginning to come forth in the trees. Let us return to love and to good and to hope as the sun returns and brings warmth of the springtime. So let us rest in all that is possible, all that is becoming, all that yet shall be. Blessed be, and amen. And now I'll let Lee Hendricks tell you about this month's Share the Plate beneficiary, Sisters Pittsburgh.
Hashtag. Okay. At the First UU Church of Indiana, we share the plate by giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside of the church. This is part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world by giving back to the community around us every week. So when you give this morning, know that you are making an impact not only for this congregation, but also in the wider community through our shared giving. You are welcome to give by PayPal by sending a donation to office@firstuu-indianapa.org, or you can send an email to that same address to find out how to set up a bank transfer or make a donation by cash or check with Holly, our office administrator. I'm really excited to share with you that this month our Share the Plate recipient is Sisters PGH. They are the transgender-centered drop-in space, resource provider, and shelter transitioning program based in Pittsburgh, offering outreach, accurate transgender education, trans inclusion training, advocacy, and emergency housing and shelter for transgender people of Pittsburgh. And they've been around for a couple of years and also have had a hand in organizing some like alternative pride events called People's Pride. That's really sort of an exciting alternative to some of what has gotten really corporate. And giving to Sisters PGH supports both our GLBTQ plus welcoming and anti-racism work by redistributing funds to an organization led by and primarily serving Black trans women. And that feels like a really important thing for us to think about and for us to do as a community. And it is part of donating to an LGBTQ plus cause or organization is part of our ongoing commitment as a welcoming congregation. And so please give as you are able to the work of this church within and beyond our walls as we share in singing our offertory hymn.
Blessed be the gifts, blessed be the gifts, the ones we give and those that you reveal. Help us use our gifts
So now let me introduce you to Jeffrey Bowden, who is our contact between the First UU Church of Indiana and our UU Justice PA, which is the legislative action network for our community. Jeffrey is going to tell us a little about what his motivations are, how he has come to be a person who works for justice, anti-racism, and anti-oppression work. And then Ruth Thomas, who also works with UU Justice Pennsylvania and is our board president this year, will tell you a little more about what UU Justice PA does and how you can become involved. So thank you to both of them for being willing to speak with us. And I hope that this will be informative, inspiring, and most of all, a worshipful experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeffrey Bowden. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. Growing up, I knew I was different. I knew I was surrounded by a lot of hate as well. I knew I was gay. I knew that that was not accepted in the area I grew up in. There was not a voice for somebody who was, and a lot of people that were minorities were viewed very poorly in the area that I grew up in. As life went on and I became an adult, I started working at a gay bar. Working at the gay bar, I was surrounded by other people, a lot of different people, people who were Black, people who were trans, people who were non-binary, but at that time, there probably really wasn't the proper language for that, but that's a different video. But the one thing, the older people at the bar were very active, in petitions and making events to raise money for HIV awareness and different fundraisers and stuff like that. So we were always very active in causes for LGBTQ. And as time went on, the thing was President Obama became president, and it seemed like so much of the things that we were working for, all of a sudden we got them. We did, but we didn't. There were still some things, but he definitely gave us gay marriage, and it felt like we had a voice. Is my point. And that was nice because for so many years we had no voice. Then I honestly think that I personally became lazy. I kind of I left that world, the gay bar world, and I stopped fighting for causes. It wasn't until President Trump became our president that I was like, oh my gosh, all that hate that I grew up with, all of a sudden it's there, and it's magnified. It's on social media, and that was quite a wake-up call. It was March 17th, March 2017, that I went to my first Women's March, and to be surrounded by so many like-minded people felt fantastic. Um, and a few years after that happened, I started going to the UU Church, and I became a member. Um, since becoming a member, I have been active in some different causes. The Black Lives Matter demonstration we had here in Indiana on Philadelphia Street. That was something I participated in. Also, volunteering at the Democratic headquarters to get people to vote. That was something I became active in as well. And it's not necessarily that I'm telling you to do these causes. My point is, if we are not active and stick up for people who don't have a voice, they will keep being repressed. And we will have a repeat of the Trump presidency. And I don't care what all you're passionate about, but we're all passionate about something. And my point is just get involved, because if we don't, those people won't have a voice. And it's important that they are heard. Thank you all for your time.
Good morning. On this UU Justice PA Sunday, Reverend Elizabeth asked us to speak about a time we felt empowered, united with the congregation, and why justice work is related to faith. Well, this that I'm going to say has nothing to do with UU Justice PA, but I feel empowered every Sunday when I meet with you all. I know that we are connected by our desire to live and work our 7 principles. I believe that we are a powerful force for justice by how we move through life, and I feel our energy. Isn't there something like actions speak louder than words? I can feel you all. I am not likely to be much of an activist out in the world, talking to legislators, speaking at local meetings of any kind, and certainly not running for office. Nevertheless, I can still work for justice in my own ways. Currently, I am working with UU Justice PA as acting administrator. My job is to manage our member and supporter database, share information about what UU Justice PA is working on, and information from our partners like Fair Districts PA, CASA, PA Stands Up, PA United, Poor People's Campaign PA, and March on Harrisburg. I bet you all know about those groups. I am not only learning a little bit about how nonprofits work and plan, but I am becoming more aware of the political climate in Pennsylvania and how inequalities and inequities affect our people. I am helping UU Justice PA meet their mission of pursuing justice by voting, advocating, and making just public policies. In this way, I am doing my justice work. In our work at UU Justice, we have become aware that if we don't fix the Pennsylvania government, none of our other justice issues are going to get much attention. Overall priority for this session is to educate voters to direct lobbying. Overall priority of this session is to educate voters and do direct lobbying of legislators. To move justice forward in Pennsylvania, UU Justice PA is striving to increase our membership, funding, and participation in our justice teams. We'll get members by asking people like you to join us in our efforts. And we'll put a link in the chat where you can click and do that. So people are power. The more members we have with us, the louder our voice will be. I believe that many people think evangelicals have the corner on activism. By strengthening the voice of UU Justice PA, we will demonstrate that Unitarian Universalists are activists too. I mean, isn't that our thing? Annually, UU Justice PA gets funding from these 4 buckets. 1, individual memberships at $40 per year, or what suits your budget, and then use that link in the chat again. Supporting congregations, donations through either Give Away the Plate or a per member amount per church. There are contributing ministers and grants from UUA and other sources. By the way, both Ligonier and First UU are supporting congregations through our annual Share the Plate contributions. Thanks for that. I would like you to join UU Justice PA. Memberships run from January or whenever you join through December. Using 2020 membership numbers, we have approximately 5,305 Unitarian Universalists in Pennsylvania. And we had approximately 350 UU Justice PA members. Our goal for 2021 is to reach 10% of 5,305 members in UU Justice PA. Will you help us? UU Justice PA has 6 justice teams that help us channel your energy effectively, and they need more members to support their work. The teams are criminal justice reform, economic justice, environmental justice, good government, gun violence prevention, and reproductive justice. Find out what each team's mission is and join 1 or 2 of them. Visit uujusticepa.org for info on each and help us have the democracy we want in Pennsylvania.
So this is our Justice Sunday. And Justice PA has been doing so much good work, working with UU the Vote in the past year, working on a variety of ballot measures before that. One of the things that I often speak about, one of the things that I know that you all are aware of and value in our UU Church, is how our 7 principles are formed, not as a statement of beliefs. They are not a creed. They are what we covenant to affirm and promote, which is to say, these are our aspirations for the world that could be. And so when I see this congregation, First UU Church of Indiana, with a picture on their wall of Reverend Joan marrying the first lesbian couple here in Indiana County, when I see our congregations dedicated to working with PFLAG and with other GLBTQ groups, when I see so many of our congregants out in the streets for Black Lives Matter marches and rallies, and writing to our legislators, making sure that people were masked and safe at the beginning of COVID, and so much more. I know that this community is one that is living our principles, our values, to make us the community that we aspire to be, the beloved community that makes this world a place in which all can thrive. So now let us hear our closing words, "In the Midst of a World," by the Reverend Rebecca Parker.
In the Midst of a World, by Reverend Rebecca Ann Parker. In the midst of a world marked by tragedy and beauty, there must be those who bear witness against unnecessary destruction and who, with faith, rise and lead in freedom with grace and power. There must be those who speak honestly and do not avoid seeing what must be seen of sorrow and outrage, of tenderness and wonder. There must be those whose grief troubles the water while their voices sing and speak refreshed worlds. There must be those whose exuberance rises with lovely energy and articulates earth's joys. There must be those who are restless for respectful and loving companionship among human beings, whose presence invites people to be themselves without fear. There must be those who gather with the congregation of remembrance and compassion, draw water from old wells, and walk the simple path of love for neighbor. And there must be communities of people who seek to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God, who call on the strength of soul force to heal, transform, and bless life. There must be religious witness.
We're gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna honor those before us. Honor those before us. Honor those before us. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna work for change together. Work for change together. Work for change together. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back.
And now we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessed be one and all. And now, if you're here from the Ligonier congregation and you'd like to be in that room for coffee hour, go ahead and Ligonier in the chat bar. Otherwise, I will sort you into breakout rooms. Thank you all so much for being here. All right.